Hello everyone and welcome back to our daily vlog series. Today we're on day 30 of our daily vlogs and we're continuing to look at sections of Paula Gooder's book Journey to the Manger. Today we're looking at in the wilderness and how that is particularly shown and how she reflects in this book, and also looking at the Gospel of Luke. So sometimes when we think of wilderness, I think that's kind of like a daunting aspect for all of us. Like personally, when I think of the wilderness, it's like going out into the wild and like going out into the unknown. But if we see that from a spiritual aspect, we should think how does that make us become strong, and how can we be strong, not just from a personal aspect, but also how can we feel strong when we are in the presence of God as well. So if we look at Luke chapter 1 verses 80, it says, "And the child grew and became strong in spirit, and he lived in the wilderness until he appeared publicly to Israel." So when we think of this verse, we should think how when you're a child, so that image of a child, when we grow throughout our childhood, we not only grow within ourselves, but also there's that kind of connection of how we can develop our strength within ourselves, but also within the spirit. And as Christians, I think that's really important to remember how this aspect of the wilderness is daunting, but also life can be daunting. So actually, when we go through life and when we go through different things, we're actually becoming stronger people. Like at times it might not feel like we are becoming strong, but we go through life, and actually I guess we could compare life and also like being in a pandemic. Like that's pretty wild. So going through that is how we can develop to become stronger, but also I think what we may count as scary is only going to make us feel stronger. And actually sometimes, like for me as well, like if I feel scared or something is daunting, then actually I put my trust in God. And actually as Christians, we put our trust in God, and I think that strengthens us as humans, but also strengthens our faith. I think also from this as well, it suggests how we don't just seek out wilderness as a physical aspect, but we go through ways of emotional, but also, like I said, spiritual ways within this wilderness. And actually, like when we seek out this wilderness, it kind of is testing our emotion as well as our spiritual aspect, and you feel all these different emotions, I guess. And I think it's good to remember it as a place of change. But okay, like I said, it might feel daunting, but wilderness, we should remember it's a place of change where it can better ourselves, but also when we are put through trials of life, it will make us a better person. And also, like I said, spiritually we can connect more with the Lord, but also with our faith, because we have come through the hardest of things. Like think about in nowadays, like a pandemic, like our faith and who we are as people is probably put to the test, because we kind of perhaps doubt our faith in the way, like, when is this virus going to go away, or will I be okay, or how is my family and friends? And actually for example, personally, when I pray, like, and when my friends and family pray, like, I know we do probably connect with the Lord on a more spiritual but also personal level. And I like to link it personally to Ephesians chapter 6 verses 11 to 18, which is in the New Testament. And I don't know if anyone's read it, but I really like Ephesians chapter 6 because it's this whole aspect of putting the armour of God on. And I don't know if anyone's read it, but it is so helpful. Like from a young person's point of view, when I think of wilderness, I think of experience that only make us stronger, and our faith does get tested, and us as human beings gets tested. But when we put this armour of God on, as it says in Ephesians chapter 6 verse 11 to 18, we are living for God, and we are working out who we are as Christians, but also as individuals. So I think this book and these chapters we've read so far in Paula Gooder's Journey to the Manger, I really feel like looking at the Gospel of Luke, like he's really actually leading us and preparing us to that day where Jesus is born. And obviously what we've read so far and how you've read all these blogs so far, like we're actually at the point where currently obviously it's been the birth of John and Jesus has not actually been born, it's the life before. But actually we're going through these themes where it's leading us to that moment where we really, like, obviously where the story really begins, but we should also remember everything that comes before Jesus. And again, like this aspect of wilderness and living in a world where we can be fearful. We just remember, like, when we pray or think of all these great things that to come when Jesus is in our lives, like it's just incredible to think that there is obviously a life before Christ.